Frank, good to see you as always.
It's good to see you, young man. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. And how are you? I know you've had a few issues with the back and stuff.
I'm all right. I'm old man, but slowly getting there.
And you are going to be at the fight on Friday, which is great news.
I am. I'm looking forward to it. It's been my first one for a bit of a while now.
And it's good to see Adelaide back again. I was very impressed with his last fight. It's the best I've seen him.
Yeah, he's looking good. He's got a new trainer. He's out in training very hard. And he's, to be fair to him, and I admire him for it, he's investing in his future by going out to the States, spending a lot of time out there with his trainer he gets on very well with. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing Friday if he's improved, and I'm sure he has from his last fight.
Yeah, because he's been training out with Jake Paul, hasn't he?
Correct, yeah. Well, he's not. Yeah, he's got a trainer, but Jake's in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Well, staying on the heavyweights, it's you can't escape this news. Tyson Fury Usyk, Tyson Fury AJ, Tyson Fury. So we'll start with Usyk. So Krasic's come out and made a statement to IFL, as you've probably seen, saying essentially they're in the process of making an offer, and it's a take it or leave it.
Oh, Krasic is going to
Yeah, Krasic making the offer for Fury v Usyk in December, I'm guessing.
send us the offer and we'll take it or leave it.
So what have you heard?
Nothing. We've been told from Saudi that we've been getting an offer since January, and nothing's come through because first of all they postponed the fight, which was originally going to take place. First of all, it was going to take place in December last year, but Usyk said he was injured and he wouldn't be ready. Then it was going to be February, and then it was going to be the 29th of April. Then they said in Saudi that they can't do it now until December because the stadium won't be ready. And I know they've got to get a sanction from their, I'm not sure what it's called, the government who put the money up. And that hasn't been forthcoming yet, and they said that we will get an offer, but they've been telling us that for a while. I've no doubt believed them, but we haven't had it yet. So there's nothing for take it or leave it. There's nothing to consider because we've not seen anything. The only thing that has been said from anybody there was from their spokesman, Derek Chisora, who said he's a spokesman for it, who said about 3-4 weeks ago that Tyson will get £150 million. So we accept it, we take it. We're not going to leave that. It's done. Send the contract, boys, and we're off to go. We're off to the races.
What about, because Alex Krasic, we've had him on our show on BT Sport a couple of times. He seems like quite a nice fella. It doesn't seem like other promoters. It seems like you two get on.
Fella. Yeah, we get on. He's doing the best he can for his fighter, but at the end of the day, they've got a narrative there, which they've had quite a winning narrative. It's because people have been very sympathetic. I'm going to read you something.
Go on.
From Oleksandr Usyk. This was only a little while ago. It's there, it says, Fury, you talk about greatness in boxing. At the same time you say, give me a lot of money. Greatness in boxing is not determined by money. Greatness comes from a victorious path. You say that I avoid you, or I never have. And in fact, I've even come to you. I'm ready to box you, even without any prize money. That was him. Very noble thoughts. That's a fighting man. A load of bollocks. Because at the end of the day, they're in Saudi and they're in money, and they keep saying this, and I understand that because that's why the golfers are there, that's why Formula One are there, that's why WWE go there, that's why the Ronaldos and Messi, and I get it, they're professional sportsmen, not a problem. But stop with the nobility of it all, because you're there for the money. Because if you weren't, and if there weren't any Saudi, you'd have fought Tyson for 30%, which is all you're entitled to, by the way, irrespective of what the fans or anybody says. And I'll tell you why. Just purse bid just gone, which they won $8 million. 6 is their end of it. 2 goes to Daniel Dubois. When Tyson last year went to purse bids against Dillian White, who doesn't have 3 belts, 0 free belts, has got losses on his record, whereas the other guy don't, he got $2 million more. You know why? Because it's Tyson Fury. And that's the truth of the matter. So let's just stop all this nobility. It's about money. Say it. I haven't got a problem with that. And by the way, you guys, Derek Chisora's offer or whatever, send it. We're there to do it. We're there to do a deal. But you know what? It's all nonsense. Till we get something to consider in writing that we've been expecting since January, so 6 months or so, what can we do?
And yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But you just mentioned there that Usyk denied he'd been avoiding Tyson. There's some on social media, misguided in my opinion, who said that Tyson's avoiding Usyk.
Why would he avoid Usyk? He's a fella come up from cruiserweight. He's fought AJ twice. It was a shock for me. He's not the fighter he was. And First fight, he done a job. The second fight, he didn't look the best to me in that fight, to be quite honest. Usyk, he fought much better. And I look at the Chisora fight, and you see Tyson fighting Chisora. Until the 10th round, it was a little bit of touch and go in that. Tyson, Derek didn't win a second of any round. Not in that fight, and fights before that. And since then, he's lost fights since he fought Usyk. So it's just a nonsense. Tyson's front. Yeah, Tyson's a right Charlie. He's the fella who went to fight Klitschko. Was it 50-odd thousand people in Germany, and took him to school in the other guy's backyard, done a job on him and won. He's the fella who fought Derek Chisora for the British title fight in London, not in Manchester, in London. He's the fighter who went to America 3 times, not once, 3 times, and fought the hardest punching heavyweight out there in 3 different but massively exciting fights. He's frightened of this guy. Do me a favour. And by the way, cut through all the nonsense. He's getting knocked out anyway. On the 26th of August, Daniel Dubois will knock him out. So they can, all that stuff in Saudi, they'll be coming to us to do a deal with Daniel Dubois and Tyson and whatever else is there. That is what is going to happen.
Well, that's a very interesting point, because if Dubois does win, I'd have to say, I think most people would say he's got a tough ass there, because Usyk's a very clever fighter.
Clever, yeah, so what?
Daniel's got the power, we know that, but I suppose...
He's a good boxer.
No, he's...
Jab, he's a big guy. You know, he'd do a better job than Derek did.
Well, if he does a better job than Derek did, then essentially he's going to win, I would think.
I fancy him for my life. I fancy him. I really, really do fancy him for the fight. I wouldn't put him in there otherwise.
So that fight is definitely going ahead August 26th, Poland, I think it is.
Yeah, they've won the purse bid for it, and we'll go ahead with it. And he's going to. And Usyk, I don't even think he's getting the money what's in the purse bid, but it's 2 million less than Dillian White got. That's the value of Tyson Fury.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would dispute that he's the biggest draw on the planet, not just boxing, in sport as well.
Some, you know, as you're saying, some of these people do. But you know what? Tyson doesn't duck out anyone. He's been in constant training. We tried discreetly to make the fights with not only him, but also with AJ, who didn't want to know, did not want to know. Because he's fighting, Eddie Hearn said yesterday, who hasn't had an offer, in his words, not mine, from Saudi. He's fighting, and they know that he's fighting in August, and we're trying to just say we'll take it. Well, who are you fighting? Forget about that. Fight in September, and you fight for the world title. Get 40% instead if you're a mandatory for 20%. Take the fight. Who are you fighting? What are they doing? What are they looking for? They must be really, really now going round. I mean, going round looking for some stiffs now for him to fight. Who's he going to fight in that day? On that day, he ain't going to fight Hergovich, who's in their camp, who they keep saying is available. Is he going to fight him? No. Is he going to fight Dillian White? That's not a bad fight to watch, but Dillian, as we all see last year, got taken to school by Tyson. So fight the man. You could win that title. I don't think you will, but you could win that title. You beat Tyson, you now got a title, and then you bring more to the table. But you know what? It's the same old thing. It's not about pride. It's not about the titles. It's about money. And he said that himself about a month ago. It's about money. And I get it. But so stop with the bullshit. We know it's about money. Sport, professional sport's about money. No one's saying any different. And if that money that Chisora said's on the table, we're there. Because we want that money. Tyson wants that money. I ain't even going to talk to him about it. I will sign it. It's done.
Brilliant. And so in the meantime, though, who does Tyson fight? He's not going to fight AJ. Last time I spoke to you about that, your son George was going to see Eddie for whatever reason. Yeah.
Told him that.
Yeah. So that didn't happen. So if Tyson is going to fight this mega fight in December against whoever, surely he will need another fight between now and then?
He's going to fight in September.
Okay. And I suppose you don't know, because every time you make...
We've got a couple of things. We will do what we've got to do to keep him active, whatever it takes. You know, he's an attraction. He wants to fight. He's been very, very patient. He should have been out in April. He should have been out in May. He's supposed to have fought in June, July. Now here we are. Your bins are on the floor. And now here we are in, you know, and he'll fight in September. We're not going to duck out of it. He will fight in September.
Brilliant. Well, listen, before we go, I won't keep you too long. I just want to run through your other fighters. Anthony Yard, I'm hearing, is back again soon.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, he's not going to dive straight back into a massive fight again, but can you see one on the horizon for him?
End of the year, I want to get him back in for a world title. Here fight. We're announcing a card, quite a big card, which he'll feature on.
And he's been unlucky, really, because I can think of some people who, you know, won some easy world titles, should we say? And Yard, the two he's fought against, two of the best Russians of all time.
Well, he has. I mean, he's been brilliant, Anthony, and he's a true warrior. And I think people, I mean, I remember all the stick he was getting for no reason. Look now, for no reason, but he went out there and fought because he's a warrior. Got the opportunity to fight for world titles and took it with both hands. We didn't sit back and think, hang on, let that guy retire, let's get on with it. He took it. He said, no, I want that fight. I'm in there.
But if anybody else, you know, with his ability, if he'd fought anyone else, you'd think he'd have won at least one world title by now?
100%. Well, he won't listen. The first one, he should have won.
Yeah, that 8th round.
He should have won. Yeah. He should have won.
Yeah. Okay, Dennis McCann. He's been out for a while. I know he had a bit of an injury, but I'm hearing there's talks of him facing Baluta.
Well, he's fighting. We're sorting it. Okay. We're going through it all now, but we've been making an announcement. We've got quite a schedule coming out on TNT because it's going to be TNT.
Of course.
Knockout fights, dynamite on TNT. Don't miss them. We've got quite a few fights coming up there.
Yeah. So Dennis McCann, I mean, he's another one, surely, in the next 6 months or so, knocking on the door of a world title.
He's up there. He'll be in some big fights, no doubt about that.
Okay. And then you've got a fight coming up, Telford, July 29th, Davis against Cunningham. I spoke to him the other day. There's a lot of needle there.
There is, and I think that's going to be a cracker, that one. I'm looking forward to that one.
And, and of course, Dennis McCann's in that same division.
Correct. So who knows? Let's see what happens.
Now, that would be a tasty fight. Dennis
would be
against...
a very tasty fight.
And before we go, any other of your fighters we haven't mentioned? Joe Joyce, actually. We haven't spoken about Joe.
Joe's taken, as you know, he's called on the rematch against Zhang, so that's going to happen. So I'll take my hat off to him. Bay's going to have to seriously change his tactics to win that fight. I believe he can do it, so let's hope that's going to be the case. We've got Hamza. Hamza will be out, who's I think is a potential world champion in the making. Denzel. I mean, you've got a load. I'm sure. Hopefully, boys don't get pissed off at me. There might be a few I've missed out, but they're all going to be busy.
And Moses coming back as well.
And Moses, yeah, he's been. Francis done a good job with him, and I'm looking forward to seeing him out again.
And just final word on Joe. I mean, for me, and I think he said himself, it's kind of he's at the crossroads now. He lost that fight, and you could argue that Zhang was tiring, and he could have cleaned up in the later rounds.
I agree with that, but unfortunately, he was getting caught at the time with those in his eye, and that was what it was. So it wasn't to be. I think without the eye injury, I think he would have. But look, you know what? It didn't happen. So now he's got to make it right.
And if he does win, he's back in the mix again.
If he wins it, he's the interim champion.
That's fine. Well, listen, Frank, pleasure as always.
It is a pleasure as always, and I'm looking forward to these fights coming up. And you've got to watch them, fans. Watch it, because boom, it's on TNT.